Let me also welcome Dr. Constantino Xavier, Senior Fellow, Foreign Policy and Security at CSEP, to the broadcast and understand what this really means for Bangladesh and the India-Bangladesh relationship. Mr. Xavier, good evening. Welcome to WION. You know, at this moment, when we look at Bangladesh, it has to have political as well as economic reforms, something that, the people of Bangladesh have voted on and placed their trust in with the BNP and Tariq Rahman. How much do you think would they be able to fulfill the kind of promises that they have made, starting with the fact that they will bring in stability in Bangladesh?
I think the resounding victory of the BNP today speaks volumes about the clear mandate they have now to lead Bangladesh back on a path of development, progress, reforms, and also good relations with India. So yes, I think the verdict of the Bangladeshi electorate today is clear. The BNP has a strong majority to take the country forward. That gives the BNP and soon-to-be Prime Minister Rahman a lot of political capital to also improve relations with India. There is a strong anti-India sentiment in the country, in Bangladesh. And of course, the BNP will have to now explain why good relationship, particularly an economic, developmental relationship, but also security relationship with India is important. And will have to explain to the Bangladeshi electorate that it needs to invest in that relationship with India.
You know, Dr. Xavier, we keep saying and we keep talking about how the BNP and Tariq Rahman now need to balance their ties with India. They need to have good relationship. But you've also got Jamaat-e-Islami as the largest opposition party with a good number of votes after a ban. With Jamaat as the opposition, how much do you think would Tariq Rahman be able to balance that, considering the fact that not just Jamaat, but the BNP itself has had an anti-India stance in the past? Would it want to listen to Jamaat or go its own way?
I think the vote today gives us the answer that the BNP will be less challenged, less beholden to the Jamaat. Numbers matter in parliament. It is reported to be a two-thirds majority, and that therefore is the best case scenario for India and the best case scenario for elected leader Tariq Rahman, who has promised that he wants to normalize relations with India. A weaker BNP would have meant a more limited, challenged BNP, more beholden to the Jamaat, which of course has a more difficult history and relationship, and even more difficult and even negative view towards India. But I think at the same time today we see that traditionally in this neighborhood, in this region, extremist parties often, when they run for elections, don't do as well as expected. I think that's one big takeaway. The Jamaat was on the rise, is still on the rise, will consolidate its leader now, its role as the leader of opposition. But at the same time, it's been probably rather disappointing to see these results for the leadership of the Jamaat. That happens because, of course, extremist parties or more fringe parties tend to be very strong on the streets. They mobilize people, they set the agenda. They often have a more radical articulation. For example, on India, again, we saw that in the last 2 months from the Jamaat. But when it comes to votes, I think the Bangladeshi electorate has moved more to the moderate side and seen in the BNP a promise of stability and a future also repairing of the relationship with India that the Jamaat was less equipped to do.
You know, obviously, the fact that BNP has won means that voters, especially women and Gen Z, who came out in large numbers and were dominating this election, have placed their trust in a center-right party. But domestically, I'll go back to the same question, the challenges that Bangladesh faces at the moment and the kind of uphill task that Tariq Rahman will face as the Prime Minister is not going to be an easy one.
A very difficult one indeed. It's difficult because we saw a lot of confusion over the last year and a half. The August Revolution 24 brought in a leader from abroad without any election who promised to completely change the country. A new constitution, we heard, a new electoral system, massive economic and institutional reforms. As I've often mentioned, I think that dream has now faced a reality check that you had to have elections first, let the Bangladeshi electorate decide who will be the successor to Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. We now have that successor. And I think the BNP will be able to develop, like you mentioned, a more moderate, inclusive agenda on economic reforms that the country needs urgently. At the same time, let me just say that I think a lot of the younger generation that obviously made the revolution of 24, maybe it's not their time yet to run the country. If you're in your 20s, which means you still pretty much be a part of 50% of the Bangladeshi population, which is below 26 years of age, it might be a little bit too early to run the country, but it's certainly not too early to express protest and to hold leadership to a higher standard. That is what the young people have done. My sense is that the young Bangladeshis will also hold the BNP to a very high standard over the next few years.
Well, absolutely. We'll have to wait and see what Tariq Rahman does. And it's not very often that we hear this nowadays, Dr. Xavier, that Tariq Rahman is the first male prime minister in about 35 years for Bangladesh. So let's wait and see what he does. But thank you very much. I'll leave it here for sharing your perspective and giving us a better understanding.